Hello, folks. Welcome to my Imaginarium. This is where I have my alternative view of the way I see the Earth. And comes into things based on like old legends and such as like that. Because I believe in having a very open mind. And I'm going to show you what I thought about. I was looking at the clouds today in a NASA worldview. And I was zooming around, doing it live. And I came across this heart out there, and I zoomed, and I said, that looks like one of the giant creatures, one of the bird things. And I went, I might have to give this a look, because there's a lot of legends of flying creatures. The Japanese and the Chinese, they have their dragons and a variousness, and there was always battles between various ones, the birds and the snake-like ones, and the legends from the Lemurian scrolls and stuff about the battles between the Garuda and the Naga, uh, the snake creatures and the flying bird creatures is documented in their scrolls and in their history. Even on this watch, commercialized. And well, there's a lot of hominid or things with human faces, but have what do they call them? Chimeas or things that are half and halves, and even some of the old tales from the Book of Enoch talked about something came here from another world and wasn't supposed to breed with what was here, and when they did that, things happened, right? And there was punishments involved, and there were giants, Garuda, Naga, that shape, and the heads, and very often even the headgear of a lot of the priests around the world. Like I'm going to ask here, Shinto priest hat. When you look at the hats, they'll very often emulate a lot of the ancient creatures that were the gods. The significance of these, I think, goes back further than just ornamental. I think the tradition is steeped in what the ancient gods might have been. The flying things that I was showing you here, and when you look at some of the Tibetan monk hats and the various shapes of theirs are very bird-like crowns, and the things that you see on these ancient things I see in my Imaginarium, as I try to include their legends and see, even looking at where did the battle of the Garuda and the Naga took place between Cambodia and India. And it was a plain in India that you could see what looks like the remains of giant snakes. Giant, I'm talking 100 miles long. These are not small. When you hear something called a fire or a thunderbird, imagine it was quite a sight if it was miles long. It would have been thunderous. Maybe it didn't have blood like we think of now. Ants don't. And they're here now. They have different way of fueling. If something was large and it was even made differently. I had up a copy of the Lemurian scrolls earlier. I was going to show it, but the copy went down unfortunately quickly. So I wonder about a lot of these hats and these things that are in these traditional outfits, and how they relate to the ancient mysteries of the flying creatures and things you would see. Let's say, I think I actually have the Lemurian scrolls on a paste. Let's see. Lemurian Scrolls PDF. Lemurian Scrolls PDF. Lorraine, there we go. So you can get this document here freely on the internet. That is absolutely smiled upon to have a copy of this, and so I will welcome you to enjoy the reading of an alternative view of the world history going back millions of years. Yeah, and the Duma ages and how the differences in the atmosphere even went into what you're supposed to eat and stuff. And I was thinking about that. But it also said the atmosphere was different. So if they was getting more oxygen and more light and vibration that could feed the body, right, in different ways, you've got to think about what the body is different than we've been taught when you're looking at alternative things. And I'm not advising any of that, but these carvings here, or whatever, however they were made, are very interesting. Actually, I'm going to save that. Yeah, this one would be Naga and Garuda. And then the legends say that the temples in Cambodia and even Angkor Wat and such are built on top of Naga holes to keep the snakes from coming out. Like you would see here, being battled by a giant flying thing with a beak and a head like that, or with a crown like that you just saw, like the Tibetan monks wearing. So as we'll move along and turn off some of this. So hopefully, as I move around the 3D part of this, and hello to you, Russ. How you doing today? I'm gonna go into pull up my Google Earth. So I went in and I found that spot. Right, it's over here. I believe that's Chile. I don't have my borders on. I'm not going to disturb anything right now. So as I came in, I started seeing a shape straight away. Straight away right here. Straight away. I got the head, the eye area. Who knows? Who knows exactly what their shape was? I'm assuming the beak area would have come through here. Did it have a gizzard? Did something break? Is something lying underneath it when it fell? And it fell because it's here in my Imaginarium. You don't call fact to fact when I'm doing my weather forecast, but this is an alternative view of something, and it challenges paradigms. I'm not saying rocks didn't form the way you can make them, but if I go down here, somebody's been mining. What's the shape of the mine itself is a big question to me. Where did the minerals run out? Is it shaped like a bird head? Is anything predictable here to be seen? Nothing obvious. I have to say that. I would keep it real. But as the whole mine gets dug out, maybe the big picture in a few years is going to look a bit different. See what mining does? See how when they make the minerals, they just these lakes of the sludges and the crap just gets filled up in here behind dams? Not cool at all. Yeah, this is mining sludge. What'll come in and dump. Those are probably hilly shaped with ice on them. Or there might be frozen stuff out here. No, this can be very cold up here. Yeah, you see. So the snow and stuff's going to help show stuff. The topography will show much better for me to do a look. Come on, man, dump things, but that's kind of cool looking. Might be vehicles parked there. I love looking at the mountains. Now I can look up and around. Whoa. I like to make it look like it's at night. So doing that, sometimes I could pick up shapes. I could fly in. Like if I was a bird flying over this, what would I see? Yeah, sure, I can go zoom in on various leaching ponds where they'll dump their crap and let it evaporate freely in the atmosphere. These could be toxic chemicals here, just evaporating freely, adding pollution to the atmosphere. I never did like the policies of doing stuff like that. Mining sludge. Could be, who knows what's in it. Anyways, it's not what this is about. I don't have to imagine that. Very interesting area. So I'm going to get back to inside the bird. And I'm just going to call it that because it's my Imaginarium. It would be very large. And I wonder what killed it. You have a few creatures here, actually. I've dropped a second pin. Did something bite it down here? I wonder. Because when I zoom in, I see another a hominid. Again, that's a combination human and that. And this is right here under a different color mount. When I see different color, I'm like, man, that's different. That's copper. That's glowing green, or it's got a lot of ice on it. And I haven't gone back a year on it yet to see if the colors are the same. And it is. So it means it's not all just ice. And that's, when's the next real far back? And to get that, you just go up here to this little stopwatch looking thing. That's even the same. So I came in here, I immediately seen a face. Absolutely, without a doubt. See, this is an older picture, right? As I go into a more modern, more erosion has occurred, the harder stuff gets left behind. Now look at this. You got nostralization going on here. You got brow ridge. As you zoom back, you see the mouth. It's almost a lizard. It's like a dragon, like you would see in the Japanese ones. And they say they fought. The legends say that those tall affections of the sky fought. It was supposedly over a cursing of love. If you read the scrolls, you'll find it very interesting. You should go read about it. And the monkey god and all that. It is a very interesting story. And at some point, I'll load my other computer on in a way I can show both screens. You'll be in for a treat then. Because I already have India all marked. Where the battle took place. The Battle of the Garuda versus the Naga. It's very interesting. They make comic books about it, but it doesn't do it justice. It doesn't do the size of it right. Now, this isn't interesting. Read some gemstones up here. Look at this green. Or is somebody camping out here? Is somebody already here studying something? Because that's an oddness. Oh, that's a house. Look, got purple here too. Somebody's mining. That's obvious to me. You wouldn't be down in this stream here when a river came through. I'll tell you that. That'd have to be a temporary structure. So somebody's already here doing something. Maybe possibly those are mine holes. Somebody's actually doing some diggings in here. I keep things real as well in my Imaginarium. Why? Because otherwise you're being a nut. Right? Having an Imaginarium is okay. So try to keep it within the realms. No, they're still there. And those tents are gone. No, I'm going to have to say that ain't all mining. But somebody's done some investigating. There's a much older image of this. I'll zoom back. It's still got that face look. Right? And I'm back in an image from 2009. This is how I do it. Fly over the mountain, spins around. I would love to have a drone. I know I could fly one of those. Because I already do this. What's in here? What's going on? Big brother. A lot of minerals here, man. Look at all the copper you find in here. I mean, there'll be malachite out the yin yang here. Look at the shape inside, the different color of the stone. It's clearly the shape of a bird head. Clearly to me. I've seen so many of these. These are very interesting and they're large. These ain't small. And I'll do you some measurements now. I'm going to give them to you in, since most of the world uses metric, I'm going to do them in clicks. This is big. I'm going to do this one in meters, so you get an idea. This one's probably about 3,000. That'll be a big fossil. It's going around a curve. That's 170 something meters. Not small. Not small at all. That head will be much bigger. This is an interesting area, actually. Maybe somebody is here studying a fossil. Because look at the size of what's in this bank. This is something big. Something big is here. And the ants ate it. Yeah, the insectoids play a big part in this Imaginarium. And I think there was something else that killed something else that isn't as talked about. The insectoids. And that's a whole nother part of my Imaginarium, which I don't know if I'll get into that as much today because I want to have a good look at this valley. Look at like a facial feature right here, a head. See it? When I drop pins, I try to leave them near the nose so I can find it later on. So you'll see me do a very predictable thing. All pins for Earth are marked in yellow. Not all the pins here that you'll see dropped. Now let's have a look at this. That's a very interesting feature right here. This will be a large giant. And it'll be more likely be a flying one. I'm not dropping another place mark. Welcome to my Imaginarium. This is another part of my work I do. And I'm going to do a doko on. So somebody in the UK knows how to use computers really, really, really well. Come over my house and help me hook up my stuff so I can do this. That's all I'm wanting is knowledge. That's really supporting my work. I'll help you. I'll find a way to get you here back. I'll feed you. I'm a good chef. I need help. That's what I need help with. Okay? You guys ask me all the time, what do I need? I need that. I got the equipment, every bit of it. I ain't sold none of it. I told you this. I ain't doing that kind of bullshit on you guys. I don't play that. I try to earn money with my jewelry sales and stuff and do this. And I want to make a documentary, and I don't want donations to make it. I have the equipment, I have the head to do it with, and I got the data. Now I want some help with knowledge to hook it up. I got the cables, I got the equipment. I ain't asking for none of that. Nope, I just need knowledge. Somebody that could come here physically, help me move the equipment out of the way. Because this television's heavy, I don't think I could lift it by myself. The skin on my fingers ripped. Never had that happen in my life before. Actually, I had my skin ripped. That's a long measurement, actually. In feet, that head would be 433 feet. That's within the realm of something from the Book of Enoch. Mm-hmm. It's within the stuff of the ancient tales. 144 yards, right? A football field and a half, roughly. Excuse me, I'm hiccuping. I'm over here. I'm eating ice cream. Only my throat was sore. Pretty soon there'll be none of that either. I gotta go totally sugar free. No juice, no nothing. That's a very interesting. I'm gonna move that place more. It's blocking my It's blocking me. I'm finding this one very interesting. I don't think I'm gonna ever have trouble finding it. Very interesting. Now let's see how many years it shows up for. Always gotta do that too. The part of my Imaginarium does that. That is a very interesting one. And we'll look at the head shape. What is kind of a crown thing does it have on it? Does it got like the mohawk, the Liberty spikes in it? Now Liberty spikes is a full round. Yeah, something ain't showing there. Nothing to see there, huh? Yeah, that's interesting. Right, I know what I need to do now. Alright, we got an issue here. Right, I'm going to take a picture of this one now. Right, they're taking it off. Boom, gotcha. Let's move that out of my way. That first one gave a coordinate right on the nose. Right, this is what I'm doing. I'm holding down my Windows symbol, and I hit my print screen symbol at the same time. I'm going to kind of put my cursor there. Alright, we got you. Now move that out. We got you. Great. Yeah, they love to hide the data. That's there. Now you see it. Now you don't. Well, now you do. 2018's got it there. There you go. That's what I like to see. What was going on with that? When you mess with the best, you die like the rest, they say. Now, as I look over here, I see more of a bird-shaped head. See it here poking out the cliff? Pardon me, I'm come up on a piece of hard chocolate in there. It's very nice. Maybe got a little snow or ice on that side. Definitely looks a bit different than the stuff around it. So we do the time lapse at it. Be surprised. Sometimes when I'm looking around, I see pyramid structures. This is interesting, actually. See that? Chin, mouth, eyes. Is he wearing a helmet? Neck area severings. Is it the corner of something square like a temple looks with blocks? This is interesting. Very, very interesting area. And the coordinate dead on that is that. So if anybody's screenshotting something, there you go. And we're going to drop that. See if we see it again. Did it, did it, did it. Not much to see there. Well, definitely structures. Well, it's so freaking pixelated. You can't see squanto. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see there. How about there? Whoa! They must have hit the brown note that day. It was a shitty imagery. Definitely something going on here. Look. That might be of archaeological interest. Very, very interesting here. Notice the general shape of this. That saves a lot of walking, huh? I'll just walk over here now, you know. Hey, you with me? Keep up. Let's turn around and see this from the other direction. I'm gonna go through this valley. Yeah, you know I'm seeing something. There's mining going on down here. See it? Somebody's mining. Busted. I'd make a fortune looking at satellite imagery because I love looking at Earth and I feel like, haha, I see you. You know, that's kind of fun. That part of it looks very squared off. I wonder what's going on here. Are they supposed to be doing this here? Look at the pollution they're doing. Look at the stream of mud and shit. They're just mining. So that means they're into a giant that has some stones. So let's look up. What part of the creature are they in? Yeah, I've noticed something. Oh, they're straight away conehead. What part you mining? Okay, there's the bird's head right here. Beak area. Chesty, wingy. Yeah, they're in near the gizzard. They should go over here. They'll find better. They're missing them. Actually, the big stones will be through here. Digging a hole right here. They come in right here, or they go in right here. Somebody's getting smart. Through here. They're in the wrong spot. I want to come over here, and they'll find them. I figured something out, and I'm right. Well, I ain't gonna make no money off them, so somebody else might. So they should dig over there. Yeah, the shapes are easy to see. Because erosion occurs around softer things and leaves the hard ones behind. Right? So the outside skeleton part is harder than the soft matter on the inside, which would decay. You ain't gonna see cartilage. It goes away. Bone might be left. And if they were made out of mineral and not bloods and stuff and irons and stuff that fueled, that became hot when compressed, things like quartzes and other crystalline things, then you would have a different type creature being fueled with energy. And that's all you need is energy to fuel yourself, right? We use food and sunlight. Trees use a different method, and everything we use different. And we assume things had a heart that beat. Why? Just because we got one? Well, we're making grand assumption, making asses out of you and me. There's like a comb part. So it had a crown. And a lot of this would have been, who knows, it might have been bashed. It might have been landed and turned flat. It would have made a hell of a noise when it landed. That'd have been an earthquake. What would they have blamed that on? COVID? COVID caused the climate change. They would have, one of their farts would have changed the climate. Right? And I always see mining around where they are. And I don't see them as being leaves, although they look like it. Right? You can't deny that. I see them as being something larger. And in some parts of the world, I'll go into what killed them, but this looks like part of the battle. And it ended nuclear. They say it did. Right? And a lot of the Lemurian scrolls, you even see spaceships floating around inside of the some of the pictures in them are fantastic. Have my ice cream for a moment. My soother. See, that'd be a good. That's a big mining area. That place is loaded. It is. This is Imaginarium stuff. And I'm just having a peek around. And this area caught my eye. drops. They gotta grow something. They're gonna water it in that with that greenness. And a lot of times when you see the shapes of some lakes, you see the shapes of bird heads. It just astounded me, actually, because I thought everything was stumps. So when I go to some parts of the world, it's very plain that it's a collapsed insect. It's ate them, and I'm looking for trying to see if I can see any of their remains yet. Their stingers are very distinct. I'll show you another one. It's probably one of the most famous places in the world that everybody says is a stump, and I think different. I think very different about it. Devil's Tower. Okay. I'm going to go away from here for a moment. I'll show you another spot of mine that I've already given a lot of consideration to. Right here. Devil's Tower. Now, this area here is very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Here you got the crude shape. The comb, like you would see on the top of the Shinto priest I showed at the beginning. The crude shape of the bird head. Insect stinger going into it that killed it. You ever get stung by a bee and see what's left behind? And it could be hair-like. When I see some of the insectoids that I've got marked on my computer, you'll see the sideways look of what one of these basalt columns, as we call them, are. And that could have been the death blow. And out it came like a nug. Now, I've never been able to find a geophysical map that shows tree roots under here, other than that one graphic somebody put on the internet. I have looked everywhere. There is no geological U.S. survey that has that root system. So I have to say, what is under here? I want to know. Is that a stinger of a creature that could have been 2 miles long? It's very possible, especially when I see this in other places in the world. The relook at the Glass House Mountains, and this is not the only bird around here at all. Legends of the Thunderbirds of the West. I don't think I've actually got the Thunderbird remarked yet from out west in the United States. But I was been looking into those, the Navajo legends, the Hopi Indian legends, and all of the Plains Indians. They always talk about sky creatures, Thunderbirds. Could these be the top of ant hills, giant hills, and activities of that? They say they're lava domes. Well, what did the ants dig into to bring up? What were they made of fire themselves? What is the nature of magma itself? Is it the sap of the earth? The earth is alive. We are part of it. We're on it. But the creatures that exist here that we're told or something, I don't believe everything we're told. I think everything should be up for a good Imaginarium. And call it that. Be bursting people's bubbles when I look at a glade or something and it's shaped like a bird head with a beak. Or was it a hominid? What's your Imaginarium saying? Is that a head? Is that the remains of a body thing? Thorax, sternum? Missing a stinger? It's possible. Is that an area where the wing was and it hollows out because it's the crystalline gossiperness of it is gone? Could it be that this is the remnants of what killed the bird of that is known as the Devil's Tower? And it shouldn't be of the devil at all. It was just the battle of the fittest. Only my Imaginarium can decide. And boy, could I write a good book about that tale, huh? Did you like that? Yeah, does that take you along a lane that isn't the guilt? Right, so that's kind of over here. Right, and I'm going to mark him by the nose. Because it's what I do. And if I keep seeing it, I'll have him. And he's going, I got it. We're going to win the war. Because the little guy could do a lot if he just does the sacrifice. Says, fuck it, man, I got this. And these people have no idea. They're walking on the remains of a hero. And the trees are all blown down the sides. Something bad must have happened here. Maybe it was man. Yeah, see the pile there? Somebody didn't give a shit. It saddens me. I'm allowed to have that. Even the ancients are crying. And these things are harder than the soils around them, so they're eroded away and left behind. And I find the insectoids to be quite interesting. And I think that's one. And I'm kind of tired tonight, so if I don't go too long, you'll have to excuse me. I'm going to check that everything's running. Tartarian ain't got nothing to do with this, Kate Jones. This is older than that. This is like from the Veda text. This is million years. This is older. It's way before Tartarian or any of that. That's just a construction thing that I would love to discuss sometime. In a really open way. Where was I? I was looking at this. Yeah, I got feelings about that. So, if I go over to India, let me see if I can find any of these. Because they were pretty easy to spec. See, there's a way to do this. I just get the hell off this world. Sometimes I can just go like that and go, oh, God, that helps. We just hover out here for a while. Australia, I don't want to see you right now. So I can go out here to where the battles happened. Out here. Where the battle of the Garuda and the Naga occurred. And these areas are of great interest. So I'm going to have to go back a few years when it was drier. And some things were showing up that are of great interest. When I looked through here, a lot of these mountains, they looked like snakes. And inside of them I was finding like very predictable skeletal formations and where their stomachs were. I was finding other creatures like they'd ate something. I've gutted enough fish from fishing to know what some things look like. And as they were eroded on down, maybe that's how you got these sandy deserts and all these multiple layers. Sometimes I see a construction technique, which I'll get into later on as I do more Imaginariums or when I do the Doko part. It'd be easier to explain that way, where I show you some science stuff from now, from etymologists that study insects and construction techniques that could lead to something that looked like a mud flood. Just go to the edge of the shore, grab a handful of wet sand and drop it like silly sand. Boop, 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 boop. Well, I watch insects that could do it with their hands and then spit it out as well. And their salivas can be very cement-like. Mud daubers, and they make hoops and drop things and can easily just dig them back out and then re-spit the stuff they had there and make construction things. It was kind of cool. And their tunnel networks make passages like this and that lead to certain places that cause into bigger ones. And some of them are even circular. And they usually, if you see a bunch of them lead to one area, they was eating something. They went there and ate something. And then they bury it with more sand and they bring something else. Sometimes they drag it on top to feed the queen. Gotta feed the queen, you know. And so many systems of insects and stuff, that's how that goes. And in return, they get the royal nectars and things like that. Now, royal nectar makes the queen. This is interesting. It's a town. Must be mining going on here. You see middle of nowhere, hoop like construction like an insect did something, you know they're doing some mining. So you look for the mud then, right? Look where they contaminate the river. So let's go up on the hill. Here's where that is, but the mining will be going on up here. Look at the contamination up here. They're doing it here. They're mining in the hill here. Right, so this is tipping me off. Something is here. Because the ancient crystal beings, look at this on the hillside. That's interesting. They're like an old city. I'm playing with the daylight settings to see if I can get it to show. Nah. It's about the best daylight I can get on that. That's very interesting, but did that get dug out because somebody parked something there and piled stuff up, or is that a face looking thing? Right? Because I see a face. My Imaginarium clearly sees a face. But what's that different color there? Is somebody parked up? Is that just man carved and parked there? Is some mining going on there? That place is interesting. Are there actor scissors stealing stuff here? Our history? So nobody can see it? Who knows? What evil lurks in the hearts of men? The shadow government's shadow knows. Who knows? All I know is that looked like a face. But I can't determine nothing as being no wildnesses. But the other ones was definitely some wildness. Alright? This is my Imaginarium, and I call it what it is. Right? This is not a weather show. This is other part of my work. Because I find it fascinating. Look at the riverbed here, how it's carved around something looks like a nose. That's interesting, right here. Point of the crown, beak, doom, curled over. That's definitely a small something there. Some part of it is missing. Something got et. Is it a hominid? It's definitely not a seahorse. Is that a wing structure? It's very possible. This is a nice one, actually. Hello, bird. The liver birds are real, man. His wings are up. Yeah, it's different color and everything. It was a different hardness. It survived. That'll be erosion downhill. It's like if I went down here and looked up, in case somebody's wondering about that, you'd be looking uphill slightly. And you'd fly in and you'd see the difference. It survived different. Things grew different. The color of the soil's different. And the outline of it in my Imaginarium says, look at that flying bird. Isn't that beautiful? And if we look at sizes on this one, it's not small. Now, if I did this, let's just say, wingtip to ass, I could imagine a stinger, but that's just runoff. If I went down to the end of its ass, it's big, man. It's 4.25 football fields length. It's not quite running a 440, but it'd take you a few seconds to do that. I imagine I could have stretched that measurement up here and bent it. But why? Why gild the lily? It's still a lily, right? In feet, that's fucking 1,200 feet. In meters, that's 390 meters. Inches, you're getting anally retentive. So 15,000 inches long, man. 15,000 inches. And if it was an insectoid, there usually is a split here, right? There's like a hollow and then a separate part with the stingery thing. And I don't see that feature on this. And I do see this as a feature. Some people's like, it's a dragon bone right here, man. And I imaginary in the heck out of this area. Isn't it beautiful to have an imagination still? Let's keep that to ourselves. Let's not give our imagination away. And this is a different area in the world now. Now I'm up in the, I think I'm up in the Andes, in the Himalayas, man. The Himalayas. Yeah, I'm up in the Himalayas. It gets really moist. It's so fucking cold, man. Colder than the heart of an X. Yeah, you see how I did that to everybody? It's so snaky and serpentine and thin with the walls. This battles also in the legends came from up there. This could be the Viper's den. And something came along, got dead just from the snake, said this is our zone. And they did win this area. But they didn't win the battle, they got confined. Something got ate. So there's some insect activity here. Put something down and ate it. Something went to the wrong spot. At some point, yeah, there's the shape. Right there. Crown, head, beak, mouth opening, neck area, mineral zone. Right here. Then the erosion. Through whatever got took from here or mined away. There'll be minerals all through here, this part. There'll be a sluicing down this river. They will. I often wonder if some of this was galactic and they were harvested. Old man's nose there. And did the insects bring things to certain areas to eat them? I can call that one the trumper. I don't want it to ruin the image when I try to look at it. That one's very interesting. Listen to me, they stole the election. It's not honest. My God. Ladies and gentlemen, the comb over giant. I wonder how big that one is. Now, I'm not redoing nothing in a rudeness. He doesn't deserve that attention from me. Look, all the way to the double chin down here. It's lying. It's within the realm of the Book of Enki. 300 yards, well within the realm of the Book of Enki, of the size of the giants that were documented in the book that was left out of the Bible. I'm being honest. So that could be another hominid. It could be another one. So there could be a big mound here somewhere. So you would call a stump, and I'd call it the center of the hive, because there's all sorts of stuff buried in here. And they could have dropped and ate it here. It's not unusual for an animal to pick something up and fly it somewhere else to eat it. We see it happen all the time. And to have a predictable spot it occurred at is very possible. Hello, you. Alien head poking out. Just drop a pin. Doink. Gotta look in the shadows, man. Gotta look in the shadows. My Imaginarium sees something very interesting here. So I'm going to screenshot that. You go down here to the bottom right-hand corner. You'll see the coordinates. Right down here. And the elevations and all that. The year you'll see up here. And I move it around. Nothing to see yet. So the erosion happens. Oh, excuse me. The erosion happened and things become exposed. And just like we got to do to the system. Erode and expose, and isn't that an interesting formation? Whoa! I love doing that. Flying over the world. Whoa. Pull up. Pull up. You know, the weird warnings. Yeah, a lot of like if an insect came along and just lapped it over itself. Boom, big muds. If something's a mile across, it wouldn't take them long to do this. Imagine the size of the pool, man. You wouldn't want to be the statue, would you? Oh, my. Hey, whatever to that big statue? You know, gee, don't that look like a big, long, snaky thing? And like one of those scan things where they shave the body and take the picture. Well, each one of these layers would be one of those shavings. So you got to build that up in your head. So you look at the big picture. You get way up. And you're like, man, that's very snaky or earthwormy, like the legends say. And if it had a stomach, it would have something in it. It would have ate something. So you would find something else, something it could have handled. And you find these things in there. It's a thing with a nose right here, and inside the belly. And I see this as a belly. It's in it. It's in the stomach of it, and it continues along. It was constricting it along. That might be part of a bowel movement because something was softer here. So the river was able to go through it, unless man came and dug that. But water looks like it did that over time. Mm-hmm. So something there was softer. Or something had severed it. It's part of where it's died. Like it with a garden hose. Look at that, huh? The shroud of not interred. The shroud being interred. This is just amazes me when I loved. And it's very squared off. This is interesting. He had a bowel blockage. Told him to chew his food better or something else down there, a big old lump. Because these could be big turds. Yeah, and they're hominids and insectoids. Homer Simpson headed things. And bird heads. So he chomped a bird. And they said they fought the ward. And the legend said this. You guys hold so much value to the Bible. Well, read the Lemurian scrolls and other Nevada texts. They say these things happened long before all that. There wasn't no Tartary or none of that then. So you got a lot more ancientness to look into. Because that's a bird. Yeah, you got to zoom right in. That's a bird. It's within the realm of the sizes of the things I see. It's a bird, man. In my imagination. Dude, it ain't running away with me. I try to keep it within the realm of possibilities. And while you say, well, show me your credentials. I have two eyeballs, and I didn't let the school system beat me down. Right? How big we got here? Oh, God, that's big. That's a lot of football fields there. We're edging on a mile line. That's about almost a mile. Oh, oh my God, 2.5 miles long. 4 clicks. 13,000 feet. 2.16 nautical miles. 2,351 smoots. What in the fuck is a smoot? Well, alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, it is 2,300 smoots. A smooch for the smooter. I bet they gotta be mining this. And if you're gonna, oh, it's already been done. They cut the necks out. They take the gizzards. The gizzards where the stones are. Yeah, it's where you find in your corundums. It's where you find in your diamonds. It's where you find in, it's in a crystalline pipe. Yeah, it's in the turd belly of a giant snake. Snakes. You say they were related to coneheads. I can show you cone. That thing got eaten by something. All right, it was not invincible. Something 2.5 miles long was not invincible. And down to its tail. There's the tail. Did it have a rattle? Didn't need one. Maybe it had some diarrhea, some drainage. That's just where a river ran through it. The Brown River. Into the fertile valley. Full of, most likely, terraced farming. It's a very efficient form of farming. It's been around for thousands and thousands of years. We seem to have forgotten it. Not such a bad idea. I'm just having a peek now. This is me just having a wander around the world. Don't you love our mother? Say that to yourself. I love my mother. I love my Mother Earth. I love looking at these birds with the ripped neck. And the gleaning of the earth and the muddying of the streams. Doesn't bother me as much as the uses of the mercuries and stuff for the processing of something that benefits few of us. But you know, somebody's got a helicopter to get up here. Three of them. We're gonna have a meeting. Don't you stay so out of touch with the communities you affect, really? Like a landing strip of some kind was here at some point. Snake bellies, man. I'm really am getting tired. So with that said, I'm gonna click off here for the night. Yeah, I'm curious. It's just clearings in the jungles, isn't it? Towns and farming, man. Towns and farming, like neurons connected together. But the only thing being smart is the phones in people's hands. And we're like big nodes in a giant brain. And the brain itself is a planet. And the planet is smarter than we are. It doesn't tell us its secrets. It doesn't tell anything on Facebook. It walks its truth with its love for letting us still be here. And with the big love on all that, we say, let's give this a roll. Big love. Peace.